Hello again. Up next on the news for you, fire in a small Missouri town.
And a vacancy on the U.S. Supreme Court.
Those stories and all the news just ahead.
Here's some mighty fresh news for you cornflake lovers. Now you'll find Cornfield Fresh Taste. A lightness, a crispness in every box of new Post Toasties cornflakes. Yep, Cornfield Fresh Taste toasted into every golden Post Toasties cornflake.
Mmm, delicious.
Wholesome and good.
Well, like I said, now you'll find Cornfield Fresh Taste in every box of new Post Toasties cornflakes. Now with Cornfield Fresh Taste.
Wait till you see my new car, the luxurious 1981 Farrington.
Nancy, that's the 81 Cutlass Supreme Brougham.
Oh, sure, Oldsmobile had it built, but it's me. Elegant. Gorgeous inside, stylish outside, and a standard V6 for good mileage. Who says luxury has to cost a mint?
See your Olds dealer today and save hundreds of dollars on Oldsmobile's popular option package.
Say, friend, a couple of light beers.
Yes, sir. Natural Light.
That's 110 calories.
Miller Light.
96 calories. We said late.
Oh, yeah. How about...
Yeah, extra light. From Pabst. Only 70 calories. Yeah, 70. So it's less filling and more refreshing.
Okay, 2 extra lights.
Extra light beer from Pabst. A refreshing change in beer.
A young Korean boy wanders into camp and everyone falls in love with him, especially Trapper on MASH at 10:30 tonight on Channel 9. This is the news, the 10 o'clock update with Scott Feldman, Brenda Williams, Dave Dusick, and Steve Grad. Now here is the 10 o'clock update.
Good evening. I'm Scott Feldman.
And I'm Brenda Williams for vacationing Christine Kraft.
Some anxious moments tonight for Higginsville, Missouri. Population 4,600, about 50 miles east of Kansas City. There you see it on the map. Fire departments from 4 communities were battling a blaze in the downtown there at the Clement True Value Hardware store, now gutted. What started the blaze shortly before 6 this evening, still unknown. Fortunately, nobody injured. Firemen from Higginsville, Lexington, Odessa, Concordia were pouring water on the flames that could have spread to an adjoining bar and other buildings. And again, there was concern about a possible explosion of the hardware store from any flammable liquids there. The fire is now reported to be under control.
That special police task force in Atlanta is investigating yet another murder tonight. Authorities found a partially decomposed body in a creek today, believed to be a black male. The special task force was already trying to solve the murders of 28 young blacks. Well, government officials say they fully expect the air traffic controllers to strike next week, but the Federal Aviation Administration promises air safety, even though half the nation's flights would be grounded. Bettina Gregory has more from Washington.
FAA Administrator Lynn Helms told the subcommittee the government will not make a new offer to the air traffic controllers. So Union Chief Robert Coley responded,
"If that is Mr. Helms' position, we have no alternative. We will strike on Monday morning."
And preparations for such an event are well underway. Today, the FAA revealed the command center from which supervisors will put contingency flight plans into effect. The FAA is trying to reassure the public the effects of a strike may not be that bad. 15,000 commercial flights carrying passengers crisscross the country every day. The FAA says in the event of a strike, it'll try to operate 8,000 domestic flights a day. But some will be carrying cargo, not passengers. The airlines will notify passengers which flights are running. Helms also told the subcommittee the union is strong-arming controllers who don't want to strike.
We have had employees write that they've been threatened physical harm.
And he said steps were being taken to protect the equipment in the nation's control towers. The FAA chief charged that last week someone deliberately shut off the computer for a few minutes at the control center in Oakland, California. Meanwhile, the airlines estimate a strike could cost them $80 million a day.
And while one strike is threatened, another has been on now for a week. The News' Max Husler reports for us now on how those making a living from Major League Baseball will be affected by the players' walkout.
It's not just the baseball players who are out of work, so are the vendors, ticket agents, and other support workers.
It's a bad situation, I know that, it's real bad, Really, I'm just looking forward to having the job back, so I can have some kind of money coming in,
Is this your only job
yeah,
that you have there?
it's money that I really need, you know, because I got a couple of kids to take care of too, you know. Yeah, so I can use every dime I can get.
Jones and his fellow union members found out tonight about financial aid that is available to them.
The turnout for the meeting was so large that many of the folks had to wait and attend a second session. But one of the things that was conspicuous in that crowd, the large number of Royals hats.
The members haven't lost their baseball loyalties, only their paychecks. Royals player rep Dan Quisenberry addressed the first group and updated them on negotiations. Union Executive Director Walter Pearson outlined eligibility for food stamps and unemployment. So the union members got answers for several of the questions they've been asking. But the big one still remains. When do they start playing ball again? This is Max Usler reporting the news.
Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart made official today what he told the president a month ago. The 66-year-old Stewart is retiring after 23 years on the court. Stewart was considered a swing vote, both a conservative and a liberal, depending on the issue. Stewart opposed affirmative action, but also voted with the majority to strike down discrimination against women. Well, as for who'll don Stewart's robes, President Reagan promised during last year's election campaign to seek a woman, if possible. But as Sam Donaldson reports, nothing's been settled yet.
It was last October, in the heat of the presidential campaign, that Mr. Reagan tried to offset criticism of his anti-ERA stand by making this promise.
I'm announcing today that one of the first Supreme Court vacancies in my administration will be filled by the most qualified woman I can possibly find. It's time for a woman to sit among our highest jurists.
But it turns out the time may not have come yet. Spokesman Larry Speake says the president wants the most qualified person, a person of excellence, competence, and judicial temperament, if it's a woman or a man, and that the Attorney General, who's compiling a list, has not been asked to give any priority to women. The truly important thing, said Speakes, is that candidates must share one key view of the president's, that the role of the courts is to interpret the law, not enact new law by judicial fiat. Or as Mr. Reagan himself put it,
in short, the function is to interpret the law and not to make it.
So the president's first nominee to the Supreme Court may or may not be a woman, but it will certainly be a person Mr. Reagan hopes will continue the process of pulling the court back from the old days of liberal social activism under the late Earl Warren, a retrenchment process begun by former President Nixon. Sam Donaldson, ABC News, the White House.
Justice Stewart says he hopes to leave July 3rd, but he may have to stay on for a while. The court may be considering the legality of the hostage-freeing pact with Iran.
Well, still ahead of us, is Barney Sardra on the run?
And the U.S. and Iraq on language against Israel. Those stories coming up.